Hello everybody, today I want to talk about AO3 when it comes to the AQA Anthology Poetry exam question, and this same point has come up in every single exam report from 2017 to 2024, and it's all about what context is and what it isn't. Now firstly, as a general rule, you want to avoid including any biographical information in your exam answers. The 2017 exam report said, and this along with all future comments about exam reports in this video is a paraphrase, that since the question focuses on the poem rather than the poet, biographical information often, not always, but often, hinders students' performance. And the 2024 exam report said that it's tricky for an examiner to award much for biographical detail because those comments hit the lowest level of the mark scheme for AO3, which is explicit ideas. Now here's the thing, when we study the poems, it's often helpful for us to know what was going on in the poet's life that inspired or influenced the writing of the poem. But we don't necessarily want to include any of that in our exam answers. Let me give you a few examples of things that did not help most students in their answers based on what's come up in the past exam reports. So, details about Rameses II when writing about Ozymandias. Now, whilst Shelley's Ozymandias is inspired by Rameses II, the poem itself explores the transience of power, which is a universal theme that goes beyond any specific historic figure, and that's why we still study these texts today, to explore those universal themes and ideas. A summary of the specific wars the poems are about, so that would be details about the Battle of Balaclava, or the Iraq War, or World War I. Details about how Elizabeth Barrett Browning's dad did not approve of her marriage with Robert Browning in Sonnet 29. Details about the IRA in Storm on the Island. Details about Wilfred Owen's personal experiences in war in Exposure. Ted Hughes's dad having fought in World War I in Bayonet Charge. And immaterial points on Guardsman Tromans for Remains. So in all of these cases, learning about these things does help us understand what the poems are saying, but we probably don't want to write about them in our answers. Now, all of the exam reports said that writing about biographical details did not help the majority of students, and perhaps the 2019 report said it best. It said biographical details about the writer should be dealt with cautiously and are best left out altogether in most cases. So, if you're sat there absolutely convinced in your exam that a biographical detail is an essential part of your analysis, then you could include it, but as a general rule, avoid. And that leaves us with a question, what can I write about when it comes to context in the poetry exam? Well, the question itself always has a link to context in it, and often that's just the broader theme the question is about. So for example, if you're studying power and conflict, well, if you're writing about power, if you're writing about conflict, you're addressing context. The 2022 exam report said that it's much better to address AO3 by exploring the ideas suggested in the question, rather than through writing about biographical details from the poet's life. Writing about biographical details regularly ends up with students drifting off topic from the question and the poem. And why is writing about themes and ideas considered context? Well, it's all to do with the mark scheme, where when we look at AO3, it says ideas, perspectives, contextual factors. And that first word, ideas, is key. In fact, it comes first because it's so important. So the key thing is, and it's always been this way, answering the question is the most important thing in these exams. The questions are worded in such a way that every relevant assessment objective is addressed. So read the question carefully, answer it fully, and you'll be addressing all of the relevant assessment objectives, including AO3. Now the video I'm linking here on screen is my epic video with 3 points of analysis on every single power and conflict poem. If you found this video useful, do check that one out, and please do subscribe to the channel.